It's good to see everybody here. All of us who live in Austin, Texas, want to welcome you to South by Southwest in Austin. We want you to really enjoy Austin a lot when you're here. We want you to eat a lot. We want you to drink a lot. We want you to pay real money for live music a lot. We want you to spend a lot, and then we want you to leave. Is that right? And then you can come back. But it is great to be here and got my family here and friends. And we're going to spend just a little bit of time this morning on the power of purpose in your life, in your business, and in the life of America. And I got to fess up, I didn't know anything about purpose. I just got on the road. I got lucky in life, early in life. And I got on the road to purpose and didn't even know it. But I have found out that when you really have purpose driving your life, purpose moments just come into your life. And I'm going to share one quick one. Last Labor Day weekend, my wife and I were in Yellowstone National Park celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary. You can clap. And we were driving home. We were going to catch a flight from Denver to Austin, and we realized that all those flights had been canceled because of Hurricane Harvey. So we drove 19 hours, and we're still married, together. And a purpose moment came into my life on Labor Day, and it went something like this. Roy, this is Bill. Listen, the 5 former presidents have decided that they want to do a PSA to help the people of Harvey. Will you help us out? And you're the only person that we trust. I went, well, sure, Bill, absolutely. Well, there's a couple of things you need to know. One, you have to film us tomorrow. And we're in 5 different locations. Maine, Plains, I'm good at this, all right. Dallas, California, and New York. And we have to film tomorrow morning because we take naps in the afternoon. You can't make this shit up. I'm telling you, this is what he said. And then he said, oh, you have to be on TV the next night because the NFL has given you a 30-second PSA on the first NFL NBC game. Can you do it? I said, sure. So I put the phone down and started crying. Not really. And I called my daughter, Courtney Spence, who's around here somewhere, who has a millennial purpose-based marketing company in San Fran. This is Labor Day. And the creative community stepped up, as they always do, when purpose is at stake here. And so at 4 in the morning, we had all 5 crews all over America, going to film them in about 3 hours. And then I was watching television, and I realized something else was happening. Irma was coming to Florida. So I started crying, and I called Courtney, and I said, we have to change all the scripts. And we did. Filmed all 5 former presidents one day. The next day, it was on television. You want to see it? Yep. Okay, let's play it.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, $48 million in about 10 days. That's what purpose looks like. People putting aside their differences in service of the greater good. I had a bunch of friends from my hometown helping out in Houston, and every time this spot played in the churches or the synagogues, everyone there looked at each other and said, if they can put aside their differences, we can too. So That's the power of purpose. So I got on the road to purpose. I grew up in a little town called Brownwood, Texas. Whatever. And my mom was a school teacher. My dad was a salesman. I had two great sisters. One was named Susan, and she was born 4 years before me. And I have a great friend, Dr. Livingston, here. But she was born with a horrible birth defect called spinal bifida. And back in the early 50s, it's basically all the nerves that are supposed to go in your legs ball up on your back in an open wound. And of course, you never walk. They can fix it now in the womb, but average age was about 4 months to 4 years maybe back then. And my sister lived to be 49 years old because of my mom. Us kids would take her to the bathroom, we'd massage her legs so she didn't have bed sores. I would push her to school. I couldn't even see over the wheelchair every day for 8 years, and I'd push her home. And she graduated from high school. And then, if we can put that slide up, she went to Gonzales Community College. And every Saturday, I would go there and push her around campus. She graduated from that and came to Austin, Texas, moved in close to Mary and I. And don't get mad at me here. Every Sunday, I would take her, push her in the neighborhood and listen to the Dallas Cowboys and eat Whataburgers. And when she passed away, I was actually in the bed holding her. And I realized all these years that I'd been pushing her, she'd actually been pushing me. And that was an epiphany of purpose at that moment in time. And she used to always tell me, you don't have to have legs to fly. So we can put that down. Thank you. You can put the slide down, thank you. So I'm on the road to purpose. At 18, I go to the University of Texas. Whatever. Okay, good. I meet my 4 partners in business, Judy's here and my other partners. We did multimedia shows at 18 and 19 years old, crazy-ass multimedia shows. Thousands of kids, students would come and pay us 50 cents or a brownie. We can talk about this now. This is America. This is America. We were entrepreneurs. And we graduated, I think, and we looked at each other and said, what the hell are we going to do? And one of my partners said, well, why don't we go into advertising? I said, great, what is that? So I had a brand new tie-dyed t-shirt. My ponytail was looking like awesome. I go down to City National Bank, Charles, that's not brown anymore. I sit down at the loan officer's chair, facing the desk. He wasn't there. And all of a sudden, someone taps me on the shoulder and says, I'm sorry, young man, do you have an appointment? And I went, no, but you're not like busy. Have you ever seen a busy banker? Anyway, except the ones that are, of course, here. But so he said, well, what do you need? And I said, I need $5,000 to start the business. Thank you. And he said, what's your business plan? I said, I beg your pardon? He said, what's your business plan? And I went, we want to stay together. We want to stay in Austin. We want to make a difference and get really rich. And he loaned me the money. And we paid it back a couple of weeks ago. These things take time. They really do. And on the road to purpose, about 30 years later, I was sitting at the Headliners Club, Rusty, and there was a guy who walks up to me and he said, do you know that gentleman over there with the cane? Do you know who he is? And I said, yes, sir, his name is Robert Sneed. And he said, do you remember that $5,000 you borrowed 25 years ago? And I said, like it was yesterday. And he said, do you know that he co-signed that note and never told you? Because he wanted you to believe that you got it on your own. If someone helps you, you help somebody else. Now, don't be lining up when I leave, but... And then, I'm 28 years old on this road. We're starting our business. I get a call from a guy named Herb Kelleher. He had 28 I didn't know who he was. He calls me up and he says, hey, your candidate beat my candidate in politics, Kruger against Nelson Wolf, and he said, you kicked me, I don't know you, will you come see me? So I didn't know who he was. He's the founder of Southwest Airlines. I was 28, he had 28 airplanes. I go see him. We talked for a couple of hours, and he said, do you drink? And I went, a lot. I didn't know. So he pulls out this jar of mezcal with a worm in the bottom. We drank it, shared the worm, hired me on the spot. 35 years later, we're still doing all the work for Southwest Airlines. I'm going to tell you what he taught me. First of all, I have a symbol of every religion in the world on my neck just to kind of cover my bases. No, the reason I have it is every religion has a version of the golden rule. And it's not the one who has the gold rules, it's the real one. And he taught me that. He also taught me how to drink and smoke on the job. He was like the best I'd ever seen. I introduced him into the Hall of Fame, Advertising Hall of Fame, 10,000 people. He was inducted 2 years ago. And I told people I didn't know he drank until one day he came into a meeting sober. But anyway, and then the next year, I get a collect call. Does anybody know what that is? Okay. A collect call, listen, stay with me, from Sam Walton. That cheap, a collect call. You can't make this up. I thought it was my dad. And Sam says, oh, Roy, I like you for 2 reasons. One, my dog is named Oh, Roy. And we're about to introduce my dog food, Oh, Roy. And second, I like what you're doing with Southwest. Can you come see me? With Sam Walton. I'm 29 years old. Go to Walmart, borrow another $5,000. But anyway, get there, and I had this big old briefcase with nothing in it. It was just me. Single, you've been there. I'm sitting there, and there's Sam looking at me with David Glass and Tom Coughlin, all these people, and he said, and I had the briefcase in front of my legs. So he said, oh, Roy, I'm glad you're here, but where's the rest of your staff? I was frozen. And I finally put my shoulders back, and I said, well, you know, there's an old saying in Texas, one riot, one ranger. What kind of problem you got? It's in his book. One riot, one ranger, what kind of problem you got? He falls out of his chair, he grabs me by the neck, and he said, you're hired. 17 years. Norm Brinker had 4 Chili's restaurants. I got lucky in life. I got on the road to purpose in our business. And by the way, what you will find out, if you have a purpose beyond making money, you'll make more. And I didn't know that either, but we found that out. So now that we've got that kind of moving on, I'm thinking about the purpose of life. Y'all want to know what it is? It's kind of an opinion-rich, I don't know, topic. Aristotle, I don't like Plato, he's arrogant. Aristotle is a good friend, and he said this. Stay with me. Basically, the purpose of life is to do good and be happy. Not be a do-gooder. Do good with your friends. Do good with your family. Do good with your kids. Good with your colleagues. Do good and be happy. You don't have to watch any more TED Talks. I've liberated you from this. Thank you. I'll see you later. So, do good and be happy. By the way, if you're doing good and you're not happy, you're not doing good. I've been on that road before, where I think I am, and I'm not happy. You got to get off that road. If you're doing bad and you're happy, obviously you're doing drugs. So, I don't know where that came from, but anyway, it's true. If that's the case, to do good and be happy, how do you find what your talents are in your personal life, in your life? Aristotle said it again the best. Where your talents and the needs of the world intersect, therein lies your purpose. If that's true, how do you find your talents? I'm in the 8th grade. My mom was a school teacher. I'm turning in, you remember cursive? I'm turning in a paper on Emerson. 8th grade. I get it back 2 days later. I have 8 misspelled words, and I have a huge C- on my paper. C's were not like celebrated at my house. Good job, Roy. Mom didn't say anything. Next year, 9th grade, I'm studying Emerson again, and I said to my mom, I cannot turn that paper in again. I can't do this again. I'll make another C. She said, do the best you can. I turned it in. I got it back. There were 11 misspelled words, not 8. The whole 2 pages was red. Megan, you know what I'm talking about. And there was a tiny A- at the top. I put my papers down to my mom and I said, I don't get it. And she said, you can't spell. But you can write. And Ms. Levacy saw that you could write. And at that moment, people, 14 years of age, my mom cut the grand bargain with me. And she said, I don't want you to spend another second of your life trying to be average at what you're bad at. I want you to spend the rest of your life becoming great at what you're good at. I was doing a speech for the Clinton Global Initiative recently, and I put initiative in the spell check, and it said, no suggestion. Let me tell you what the grand bargain is here, people. Who has kids? Got kids? Raise your hand. I got to ask you something. Will you quit asking them what they want to do? You're old as dirt, and you don't know what you want to do. How about another question? Why don't you ask them, what do you love to do? What do you love to do? And then at some point, the grand bargain, when America is at her best, when we're at our best, if you work hard and you take responsibility, you should be able to make a living and a life doing what you love to do. Does that make sense? My daughter loves marketing. She's got a marketing firm in California. My middle daughter loves yoga. She has Wonderlust Studio right down here. Sunshine went to Tulane and comes home, cooks me and Mary a 4-course meal. I said, what have you been doing? He said, well, watching the Food Network. Anyway, so he goes to culinary school, and at 28 years old, he's the food editor for People magazine. We have a promise as parents with our kids. If you work hard and you play by the rules and you take responsibility, you should be able to make a living and a life doing what you love to do. That's the promise. And I've been thinking a lot about America's promise. And I've been thinking a lot about this cultural divide and political divide in this country for a long time. I don't think America can live up to her potential or her promise as long as we have the political destructive war going on in America of us versus them. We cannot move forward with a war of us versus them in this country. And I thought about how in the hell could I do something? How could we do something? I'm in the marketing business, and I realized you can change cultures through marketing if it's purpose-inspired. Have anybody heard of Don't Mess with Texas? 1985, my partner and I, there was litter everywhere. Texas was a littering culture. I used to ride in the back of my dad's pickup. He'd say, throw shit out, keeps people employed. No, really. And so the governor of New Texas said, we got litter everywhere. It's up 20%. Why don't we try to reduce litter? So they put the account to reduce litter up for review. And the people who did, y'all won't remember this, the Crying Indians and Give a Hoot, Don't Pollute were competing with us. We had no campaign until 2 days before when my partner was on the highway and he wrote on a fudge sickle, don't mess with Texas. We pitched it and they looked at us like, who are you? We like the Crying Indians. You can't make this up. All these bureaucrats, and the Crying Indians and Give a Hoot and Don't Pollute, we like that. And I said, so does the Sierra Club. They don't litter. Billy Bob Bowtree from Tyler, Texas litters. So they went with Don't Mess with Texas. Our first spot, Stevie Ray Vaughan. You want to see it? And then the next one was Willie Nelson. And the next one was the Hells Angels. Let's play two of these real quick.
Each year, we spend over $20 million picking up trash along our Texas highways. Messing with Texas isn't just an insult to the Lone Star State. It's a crime.
Don't mess with Texas.
Mamas, tell all your babies, don't mess with Texas. Don't let them throw cans from them old pickup trucks. Don't let them throw bottles and papers and such. Mamas, tell all your babies, don't mess with Texas. Keep your trash off the roads, and she's a fine yellow rose. Treat Texas like someone you love.
Three years later, we had reduced litter in Texas by over 90%. We had changed the culture from a littering state to a non-littering state through marketing. By the way, when I played the Stevie Ray Vaughan spot to 1,000 highway department employees, average age 100, this is no shit. Burr haircuts, all men. Not one person said anything, it was silence. And finally, an old guy in the back stood up and said, "Son, I don't get it." And I said, "Good, it's going to work." Think about this just for a second. Using the power of purpose-inspired marketing to improve lives, to improve cultures in this country. Another thing happened, 2001, 9/11. My teams are in Washington, but the Air Force was our client, and we're all watching like y'all were. We weren't at the Pentagon, but the Pentagon got bombed. And I'm sitting there with our teams trying to figure out what can we do? What can we do? We're driving home. Call the creative community again. Everyone stepped up. We had directors all over the country, pro bono, filming. And they were filming one thing: I'm an American. This is 17 years ago, and I was looking at it again, thinking about America today. I'm going to play this, because when we launched this, it became the most run PSA in the history of America. And we used purpose-inspired marketing to bring and heal this country. So let's see, I'm an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American. I'm an American.
I am 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 an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American. I
am
an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
I am American.
I am America. I'm an American.
I'm an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
I'm an American. I am an American.
I am an American.
By the way, E pluribus unum, first motto of the United States of America, out of many one. So, quick story, I'm climbing Mount Sopris outside of Carbondale, Colorado, last year in the winter by myself, really thrills Mary. Snowshoes, and I was reflecting halfway up the mountain on the movie I saw at my home the night before, Apollo 13. Which I'd seen 100 times. And I stopped in my tracks when I remembered what Tom Hanks said, "Houston, we have a problem." And I stopped to look around to make sure nobody else was around halfway up that mountain. and I said really out loud, America, we have a problem. We cannot live up to our full potential as a nation. We cannot live up to our promise as a nation. We cannot live up to our possibilities as a nation if the political sides of both parties, if the political destructive message of us versus them rules this country. We cannot do it. The us versus them communications messaging plan on this great land of ours. So, welcome to the Promised Land. That's what we're launching today. It's called the Promised Land Project. Here's the idea. Promised Land Project basically believes that in today's world, politics is the great divider. Purpose is the great uniter. The Promised Land believes that in today's world, politics is being done behind closed doors. Purpose has the keys to unlock the doors of potential and possibilities. Purpose has the keys of having us find common ground on higher ground. So we're launching the Promised Land Project today. We've got marketing people, Jim Stingle, a whole bunch of people right here across the country coming to Austin, purpose-inspired marketing people who have day jobs, by the way, volunteering. And let me tell you what we're going to do. You ready? We're taking America as our client, pro bono. We're going to market the best of America to America. Will you help us? Honestly. Because if we do that, here's what we believe. Our purpose is real simple. We are going to unleash the power of purpose-inspired messaging to bridge the cultural divide in this country. We're going to unleash the power of purpose-inspired marketing and campaigns like Don't Mess with Texas to help Americans see we can find common ground on higher ground. We have a goal that when America turns 250 years old, in 2026, 8 years from now, we will be celebrating America's birthday, but we'll also be celebrating the rebirth of a culture of us, as in USA. Rebirthing a culture of us as becoming the best us. Rebirthing the culture of us, and when we do that, there'll be no stopping us. So I want you to be the first to see what it feels like in the Promised Land. So if we could play the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to make good on a promise. America's promise. To give you and all Americans who work hard and take responsibility the opportunity to develop and live up to your full potential. But America, we have a problem. Instead of living up to America's promise, the forces of us versus them have created a massive cultural divide. We're done with us versus them. Welcome to the Promised Land Project. We believe that America must be driven by purpose, not politics. We are on a mission to find common ground on higher ground, and we've got work to do. So we are unleashing the power of purpose-driven communications to begin bridging our cultural divide. Starting with motivating a new generation of purpose-inspired public servants, not just politicians, who regard collaboration and compromise as characteristics of strength and patriotism. Encouraging all of us to get to know each other better by walking in one another's shoes and respecting the dignity of all work. Liberating our schools and students from being judged on standardized tests alone. Our children should be motivated to be exceptional, not standardized. Championing the reality that a 4-year college path is not the only path to success. Our community colleges and apprenticeship programs stand ready to train and educate people for thousands of high-skill, high-income careers. Standing tall for small businesses, small towns, small neighborhoods and urban cities, and promoting entrepreneurship because it is truly the miracle of America. This is the Promised Land Project. Where there's America, there's a way. Because where there's America, there's promise. Where there is promise, there is us. Joyous and generous, mischievous and miraculous. Where there is promise, there is us. Nervous but adventurous, boisterous and rebellious, there is us. Boundless, fearless, prosperous, e pluribus. Where there is purpose, there is us. America's promise must not be broken. We are a family tree, bent double and twisting in the destructive political winds. We shall not break, because where there is promise, there is us. We will together build a culture of us and become the best us. And when that happens, there's no stopping us. Welcome to the Promised Land Project.
The voiceover was great. It's my daughter. Thank you. And the price was perfect. Welcome to the Promised Land Project. We're going to market the best of America to America. And the keys that open up this doors of opportunity lie in the idea that the things we are fighting for are common ground that people can agree on. First of all, we've got to inspire, and Jim Stingle knows this because he works with all these purpose-inspired leaders around business. We have to get purpose-inspired people into the arena to become public servants, driven by purpose, not politicians driven by power. And by the way, I'm looking at this room, and there's a lot of old people like me, but I know I look fabulous, but there's a lot of young people. You need to get in the arena and be purpose-inspired and lead this country to the promised land. By the way, we're going to help you give air support because we're nonpartisan, that we are going to let people know, because this is what America believes, the great, great majority, compromise, collaboration, and consensus is not a sign of weakness. It's a characteristic of strength and patriotism. So if you'll go to our website, it just went on. John, thank you for doing it. You'll see this video that we just did.
Consider this a want ad for a new generation of leaders. Wanted, public servants driven by purpose, not power or politics, must be ready to listen, collaborate, and together make positive things happen. We need leaders to find common ground for the greater good. And most of all, we need you, and you, and you, to take the lead on every side of every aisle and shape America's future.
We've got 10 keys opening up the doors of possibility for America on our website. Another one we've got to do, we've got to respect the dignity of all work again. We've got to walk in each other's shoes again. We've got to help build a country again where no one's too good and everybody's good enough. That's the promise of this country. And we can't do it if we sit behind our computers. I love computers, whoever's in the room. We got to get out there and walk in other people's shoes. So here's a video on that.
The dignity of work takes many forms. It's time to stop judging each other by the color of our collars, because white and blue are both a perfect match for the red blood we all share. No matter what your job, let's take the time to walk a mile in one another's flats, heels, wingtips, boots, and sneakers. Because when you walk in someone else's shoes, you realize we're all in this together.
So, you want to go walking?
All right. Let me walk up here first with you.
Oh my God. What are you doing?
Thank you. Hey, buddy.
Hey, what are you doing?
Congratulations. I'll tell you what I'm doing in a minute.
Okay.
I want to congratulate Roy. I've been able to be a a buddy of his over this last year, and he has been ate up with this Promised Land project. And I want to applaud you right now, man, that you
Thank you.
took
Thank
it
you,
on.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Good fortune to those with an earnest purpose. One of the things that came up here in this last video is saying that to bridge the cultural gap, we need to walk in another's shoes. I know for myself, travel has been my best educator. Actually, if I do my job well as an actor, that's somewhat of what I'm doing.
Yep.
But the question I got for you right now is, if you're going to walk in someone else's shoes, whose shoes are you going to walk in?
I have no idea. What are you doing?
I have an idea.
Oh, God.
I've got a dart. We've got a map of America. I throw this dart at this map. Wherever it lands, you and a camera crew go to that place, and you walk in the shoes of whatever farm, factory, high-rise, and you walk in those people's shoes. You share their story.
I'm in.
And we start the journey for the culture of us as in USA.
Oh, my God.
And I understand you have an affection for Biloxi. Let's see if I can get close to it. Oh. We're going to North Dakota. Hey!
Where is that?
Get my glasses on here. You are going just south of Wofford City, sir.
Is there any people there?
Well, it's right by the river, so we know we've got clean water. That's where you're heading.
I'm going.
Right.
That is awesome. Okay.
There you go.
We're going walking, and you're a good
Wofford
man.
City. Yes, sir.
You're a good man.
Thank you.
Give him a hand. Thank you so much. Thank you, Matthew. Who wants to go with me? I'm serious. We're going to take community college kids. By the way, young people they're going to community college. It's amazing. And we've got so many people here today that are from Austin in particular who volunteered to help with the Promised Land Project, the WP Engine, and John at Project C, and you've got, Austin Community College, you've got Facebook Small Business, you've got Texas Association of Home Builders. By the way, we cannot rebuild Harvey, can we? We don't have carpenters or bricklayers. We got to let people know, young people know, you can make a living and a life doing what you're great at. We're going to inspire a whole new generation. And by the way, don't get me off on this one. God made us all different, and we still judge our kids just on standardized tests. We need to transform our school systems from teaching and testing to talent development and coaching. And GSD&M has been jumping in, and all these wonderful people. Rusty, thank y'all. But here's where we are. We're launching the Promised Land Project. And by the way, it's called a project because unlike the Manhattan Project in World War II, Kennedy's call for a man on the moon, Reagan's call to take down that Berlin Wall, Clinton's call to build a bridge to the 21st century. The Promised Land Project is not in response to an external threat, it's a response to an internal one. We have got to build the culture of us again. And we're going to shine a light on all the organizations around the country that are already doing this stuff. We have the homeless situation solved in Austin, Texas with Community First. You know what our politicians need to do? Get out of the Beltway, because all they do is take their belt out and beat out each other. Get in the hard land and find the solutions and scale them. That's going to be a part of the Promised Land. So I'm going to end with this. A friend of mine about 2 years ago sent me this. He said, I want you to hear what purpose sounds like. You know what it looks like. You know what it feels like. I want you to see what and feel what it sounds like. He sent me this video. Yeah, let's keep on. He sent me this video because this is what purpose sounds like.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her waiting on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. Well, she tied you to a kitchen chair, she broke your throne and she cut your hair, and from the lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
baby, there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love is how to shoot somebody who outdrew you. It's not a cry that you hear at night, it's not somebody who's seen the light, it's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 and hallelujah,
So I called him back and he said, this is what purpose sounds like. When you're leading a purpose-inspired organization or leading a purpose-inspired country, everybody needs to know the words to the song. Secondly, if you're leading a purpose-inspired company or a purpose-inspired country, we got to listen to one another again. When you're running a purpose-inspired country or a purpose-inspired company, you got to stand up when it's your turn. And by the way, it sounds pretty awesome when you sing together. And then he paused and said, it also really helps to have a good song to sing. America has a great song to sing. We got to know the words to the song again. We got to listen to one another again. We got to stand up when it's our turn again. And I will tell you, when we celebrate our 250th birthday, if we're singing together, the world will know that America has left the dark winter and there's a sun shining on the promised land. And it will be the voices of us. One final point, I was walking across America about 5 years ago, taking a picture of something good. I have a day job, but you become what you look for in this country, in the world. I was in Ludlow, Vermont, and I'd been on the road for 20 days. And a woman looks at me and says, you look pretty weary. What are you doing? I said, I'm walking across America. And she says, I have a present for you. And in her little shop, she gave me this old rusted that her dad had, about 100 years old, and it says, I might not be there yet, but I'm closer than I was yesterday. The promised land, we might not be there yet, but because of you and today, we are closer than we were yesterday. God bless you guys. Thank y'all. And welcome to the promised land. Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you. All right, so we have the time for a few questions here. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it. So I just read them? Okay. Here's one. How can we get involved? Go to our website, and at South by Southwest, you cannot ask for money, so I'm not. But go to the website, volunteer. Main thing, if you have a company, I'd like to joint market this with your organization. We got to get people involved and realize there's a new way home. Why should investors care about a company's purpose? Mainly because it's been proven through Stingel's work and Jim Collins' work. If you have a company, and by the way, with young people, young millennials are not going to work for a company that doesn't have a purpose beyond making money. If you want the number one talent to work for your organization, purpose has got to be the driver. And that's the truth. What do you do when a long-time organization has settled into systems rather than a culture of purpose? How do you influence the lead leaders? Great question. Stay with me real quick. Southwest Airlines' Herb Kelleher used to always say, a great organization has a German side and an Irish side. We got to take the planes off. They got to land. We got to fuel them up. And if you have the basics running on the systems, that gives you permission to have purpose lead your culture. But if you don't have the planes running on time, it doesn't matter how much purpose you have. So I think it's the genius of the and. It's systems and purpose. That's the future of all the visionary companies in the future. So this concludes our thing. I hope you had fun. I thank you for coming and showing up, and I thank my partners for being partners in the Promised Land. Thank you.